Hello there. In previous session we saw how to install and configure a web server. We used an example for both the Nginx and Apache server on a same Linux server. And then we tried to change the port for Apache, and then we reached out from local machine as well. Now what you are seeing on screen is my putty terminal, which is connected to my Linux machine running in a remote cloud server. So what you are seeing is a cloud server, and I will open up my browser, and I have given the IP address, which is not my IP address. It is the IP address of the the Linux which is running in the cloud, and I'm able to reach it as well. So I followed the same steps as we did in the previous session for our local virtual machine. Now what we are going to do in this video, we are going to see how to host multiple websites in same Linux server. To do that, we need to use a process called reverse proxy. In previous session, we also saw that there are two ways how an incoming request will be differentiated. One is through the port and the other is through the domain name itself. First, we will initially start with the port, then we will go ahead with the domain name. So to understand how to change the port, first let us go into the configuration file for Nginx. In this video, I am going to show the example only for Nginx. Maybe at a later stage, we will do one more video for Apache. So I am focusing on Nginx in this video. Let me open the folder where the configurations are present. As I said before, it is in etc. and cd Nginx, and the default Nginx configuration is Nginx.Conf. So let us open Nginx.Conf and read what is present there. So whatever is with hash, it is commented out. We don't need to worry about that. What we are trying to understand here is Nginx web server is opening up a configuration file called .conf, and through this .configuration file we should also instruct Nginx to load other configuration files. We are going to tell Nginx, okay, along with this configuration I will also share some other configuration, please load those configurations also. So in that way we will instruct our Nginx web server that for a particular port a website is running here, for a particular domain a website files are present here. That's what we are going to do now. How do we understand that? If you take a look, these are all basic information, and inside the HTTP by default our server is looking at the include file is here. Now this is very difficult for me to scroll and check, so I will clear the screen and then I will say cat Nginx.conf, and then I will go with less so that I can read line by line. Okay, there we go. So now I am pressing enter. If I go up and down, I can easily come back. You could see in this line, server is listening at 80, and the server name is underscore, which means there is no server name, it is default, and the root files are present in this folder. Let's go further down. This is what we need. Whatever configuration file is present in default.d folder, those configuration files will also be loaded. That's what it says. It says that the server will be listening at 80 for this default Nginx.conf file, and the other configuration which is present in this default conf will also be loaded. So that's what the basic idea here is. So now what we need to do, we need to create a configuration file. With this information is more than enough. What it should contain, it should contain which port it is listening, it should contain a server name, and then it should contain where to find the HTML files. So these information is more than sufficient to create a configuration for a website. If you are using Ubuntu or different other server, let me quit this, or we can come back and copy this, but currently what I will do, I will create a notepad in my local and I will just save this information so that we can use it again. And okay, let me clear the screen. If you are using Ubuntu, you will be seeing few different folder structures in your Nginx folder, which will be you will find something called sites enabled and sites available. You don't need to create that, that's not mandatory, but the main idea here is we will be setting up 10 websites in our local machine now. It's not necessary that all the 10 websites should be associated with your Nginx. So today we will say that all 10 websites are available, and then you say no, I don't need the 10 websites, I need only 2 to be available, remaining let us remove it. So when it happens, what will you do? In case we already saw that whatever conf file present inside default D will be loaded, right? So in that case, if you have a folder called sites available and you put all your configuration original files there, then everything will be loaded. In case you don't want something, you need to remove or move the file from that location. So that is a difficult process. You can't always move in, move out and all those things. Then what we do, like we remove the file directly. Then if we remove the file, all the setup we did there are lost. So we cannot get them back. So there is a simple way of achieving this, which is already used in all the Nginx servers, which is to create a symbolic link. What is a symbolic link? Let me open up my Windows here. In case you are from Windows, let's say like I'm going to my pictures. I'm in pictures. I have a file called Nginx.png, and then I will open up one more folder. I have a visualization folder, a work in progress folder. In the work in progress folder, what I will do, I will create a shortcut for this Nginx. So what I can do, I will just drag this and keep it here. I'll say create shortcut here. So there is a shortcut for this one. You see the size is 2 KB, but the original file size is 168 KB. If I open it up, it opens me the Nginx logo. Now let me rename the file to _Nginx. Okay, now renamed. If I try to open, it will still open because the file is directly linked here. If I hover the mouse over, it says the file is now called as Nginx_. So this kind of link is called as hard link. The link itself is associated to the file. So when you move the file, it will still track the file itself, and then wherever it goes, the shortcut will still work. This is a hard link. Then what is a soft link? Soft link is it will not track the file, it is not associated to the file, but it is associated to the location itself. So it will say that it will always look for the previous name, Nginx, in this location. If the file is moved, it will not work. So that's the difference between hard link and soft link. Hard link is associated to the file. So when you move the file, the link also will track and track the file itself. But soft link will only look at the location. The moment you remove the file, the link connection is lost. I'm not going to show an example of this here because anyway we are going to create a symbolic link. The main idea is we have two folders, sites available and sites enabled. So you put all your files in your available folder, and whichever you want to enable, you create a shortcut like a symbolic link there, and those links will be loaded by your Nginx. If you don't want something, just remove the link alone. The original file is still retained. So to do that, let's say make directory sites, I will say _sites available, and one more folder called sites enabled. So let's list, we have two folder, sites available and enabled. So we need to create the configuration files inside sites available. So we have two sites available, let's say test1 and test2. So let me open sites available, and in this folder I will create two files. First file is called test1.conf, and another file is called test2.conf. So now I have two files available. Let me directly edit the test1.conf, and I will go open the PDF, the thing that we created here. So currently, as I said before, there are two ways, right? One, listening to the port. Next is using the server name. So what I will do, I will remove all this. This is the bare minimum that I need. So I need to listen to a specific port. I will say listen to 5001, and let's not deal with the server name now. And root user share Nginx.html. Instead of that, I will go to where www html or where www, I will say this is test1.site. test1.site. So this is my root. So let me copy this and come here, go into insert mode, right click. So I am creating a configuration file which will listen at 5001 and then it will send me to the site which is present at this location. Okay, escape, write and quit. So I created one file. Let us test it. Cat test 01.conf. So this is working. Okay, so now let us edit test2.conf. Now let me go one folder back. Now I need to add the links here. So as I explained before, I can also give sites available directly, but then I need to delete the file or move the file whenever I don't need that to be served. So removing a link is more easy than moving the file, storing it somewhere else. So that's why we have sites enabled, right? So I need to now find the present working directory. So present print working directory, this is in Nginx, right? So link ln, create not a hard link. If I give directly, it will create a hard link. So short symbolic link, create a symbolic link in etc Nginx sites enabled. Where is the target? Target is sites available inside which test01.conf is my target, and link name is etc Nginx sites enabled. I will give the same name, right? Same name. It's not necessary that you need to have a same name. You can also have different name. Let's say site1.conf. Okay, now let us do the same for test2 as well. I'm creating one symbolic link. Now I'm creating second symbolic link and calling it as test2. Okay, let's open up sites enabled and list it. Now it doesn't make much sense, but if I give list with -l, you could see that the file itself is a link. So when you open this file, it will open test1. When you open this file, it will open test2. Let's try to open site1.conf. It will give me the information from test1. So that's how the link works. Now that we created two configuration files and also created a symbolic link, the main idea is whenever you remove, the connection is not lost. Now let's go back and edit the Nginx config and say that it should also link into sites enabled. So let me go to insert mode. The HTTP, whenever you are including these configurations, just include etc Nginx sites enabled all the .conf file inside as well. I'm just saying that, okay, you are listening at this location, right? So also include whatever file is present in this configuration. For configuration files present in this location as well. That's it. So escape, write and quit. That's it. Now our application will now load the files from this sites enabled as well. Then 3 sites will also be loaded. How do we know that? So we will need to restart Nginx, system control reload Nginx. So Nginx is now reloaded. On reload, it will now also load the configuration from sites enabled. So 2 information is already present. So all that's left is you need to create the files in the said location. So sites enabled /site1.conf. So the location is test21.site and test2.site, right? So let's go to the same location, cd If the location is not present, obviously it is not present. So let's create a folder, make directory. This location cannot make directory, no such file or directory. Okay, why it didn't work is the www is also not present. So what we will do, let's make a directory, whatever command we gave before. Let's make directory this location, but we will also give an option that if parent directories are not present, -p, make those as well. So now parent directories will also be made. Test2.site, that is also made. Now let's go into cd var and say cd www, cd, two folders are present. Test1.site, I will open up and create a file called index.html. It's not HTML. Touch index.html, and then let me edit this file, and in the insert mode I will say hello, this is site1 test file. Okay, there we go. So we created two folders, and then inside each folder we created two index files, and index files contain some basic information. So what it should do now, 5001, in case we are receiving some information, it should be sending the file from the specific website. Before that, let us open server site statistics, TCP, listening port TCP, UDP, and port with number. Okay, let's see. It's Nginx is only listening at 80. It is not listening at a different port. So that is totally fine. Now what we will do, we will try to run, reach the website at 5001. Obviously it will not work because the port is not opened yet. Let me open the port. So firewall command and add port 5001 TCP, firewall command, add port 5002 TCP. Now if I open up, 5000 and 5000 port are open, but nothing is listening in those two ports. That's fine. Let me run this. Well, it doesn't work even for 5001 and 5002. Let's open the command prompt, the terminal, and say system control restart Nginx. Okay, Nginx restart failed. Let's check why it failed. JournalCtl xcu Nginx.service failed to start. Okay, it says that 5001 is open, but permission denied to bind. The latest Linux OS are controlled by something called security enhanced Linux. So they call it as SE policy. So how do I do that? So there are two things first we need to do. Like first we need to check all the booleans that are enabled or not. Security enhanced Linux SETSEBOOL. There is something called SETSEBOOL, and SETSEBOOL. Let's do help. Get SETSEBOOL. So get all the booleans. Okay, get SETSEBOOL with all. Get SETSEBOOL all, and then pipe it and say network. So we are only discussing about network. You could see that HTTPD CAN network connect is off, which means here HTTPD CAN network connect DB is off, which means network cannot connect to database. Network cannot connect to, basically network cannot connect internally. So that's what it means. So this needs to be turned on, only then it will work. But how do we know that this is the issue? I already said now this is the issue, and there is one more issue because it says that port 5001 is not binding, right? So let me clear this off. We will come back to this later. CManage is there, so it is to manage the ports. CManage port. Okay, so it's hyphen port, I believe. Port, and then I need to give -L to list everything. So CManage port list. It will give me all the port which are opened by CManage. So what we are looking at, CManage port list, and pipe it to grep HTTP. So HTTP port, I could see that 80 is open, 443 is open. These things are open for binding, but 5000 is not open. Let us first open that. CManage port. Let's do a help and see. A for adding. So if I give double -A, which means that I need to add. If it is already added, I need to modify. So let's add something. So CManage, and we are looking at port, right? So CManage add. Now CManage port add. Port add. Then what we need to add? We need to add a type of T for type. We will do full forms. So add type. What is the type? Here you could see from above, HTTP underscore port underscore T. That is the type. So HTTP underscore port underscore type. So CManage port add to the type of this one. What I need to add? A port value of you need to give protocol as well. So TCP protocol 5001. Now it's already defined. So what it means, if it's already defined, then we need to modify. So let's go ahead and say modify. So modify is M for modify. M for modify. So now this is added. I will do the same for 5002. 5002 is not defined first. So first I need to add. Okay, so now this is defined. Let us check. Clear the screen, CManage port, list everything, and then from this grep and give me HTTP underscore port underscore T. So I could see that 5001 and 5002 both are now allowed to bind from the HTTP. So where were we stuck before? We were stuck at starting the Nginx service, restarting. So system control restart Nginx. Now this should restart Nginx. System control status of Nginx. So Nginx is now running and enabled. Still did not allow network to connect to different ports. So even though the Nginx is running and everything is fine, this should not work. Now it reached the place, but what it says, it is forbidden. Why it is forbidden? We need to there are two ways. Like, since we already know that this is the error, we can directly go ahead and set the SETSEBOOL. Why we are not allowed to reach 5002? Let us go into the journal control. Nginx is fine and it is running. There is no error with Nginx. So here we should not see anything. So we need to go to log files of Nginx. Here, where log Nginx, it's not there. Okay, where log Nginx. And error log says that here, you see, first we had this error earlier that the binding was failed, and then there is one more error that permission denied to client. So this error is the one which we initially faced. Basically this error is when the 5000 binding was failed. Then now we are facing an error. The latest error is forbidden error, again permission denied. So like I said, network is not allowed to connect. So get SETSEBOOL. Go down and say SETSEBOOL this one turn on. Let us check SETSEBOOL again. So now SETSEBOOL connect is turned on. So earlier it was off, now I turned on. So we should be able to reach the location. So let me do control. Okay. Even though we did that, we need to restart our service, right? Clear. System control restart Nginx. It's taking some time and done. Even after allowing the HTTPD to connect and also allowing the ports to bind and everything, still it is not getting connected. So there is some kind of an issue. Now there are two things that we need to understand. Is the issue coming only from HTTPD, or is the issue coming only from Linux, or is the issue coming from anything else? So there is a way. This HTTPD, the SETSEBOOL, all these concepts are called as enforced mode, which means the SEMANAGE or security enhanced Linux is enforcing some kind of strict policies to check certain kind of variables, and because of why these issues are happening. So what we can do is we can put a particular service under permissive mode. What is permissive mode? There are actually three modes: disabled mode, permissive mode, and enforced mode. Permissive enforced mode means all the security things will be checked. So it is a strict policy and which is recommended. And another mode is permissive mode. So disabled mode, as the name suggests, completely disabled, no security at all. I will not suggest that. The permissive mode means it's same like disabled mode, but instead it will also record all the information, like everything, all the issues it will record in the log. So this is a way of debugging. We need to understand first that the issue is coming from SEMANAGE, and if it is coming, we need to log and see what are the errors, and we need to fix that. So what I will do, first put a particular service on permissive mode. So how do we know that? If you go to SEMANAGE help, you could see permissive mode is there, and enforced mode will be set enforce. So it's not here, but it's like SETSEBOOL and SETSEBOOL. It is set enforce. So which will enforce by globally it is always enforcing. So what I do, SEMANAGE in the permissive mode, allow HTTPD underscore type. So only HTTPD I am going to allow under permissive mode temporarily, and then I will disable it later. Okay, now I have allowed it. So when I have allowed it, the first step I need to do is check whether it is reaching or not. If this is still not reaching, then the problem is something else. If it is reaching, then the problem is with SEMANAGE policies. So let me press F5, and there we go. We are able to reach it. 5002 also like second website. 5001 is first website. So we are able to reach it. So the problem is from the SEMANAGE SEMANAGE policies. So how do we check where the issues are getting logged? By default, all the logs will be present in let me clear the screen. It will be present in log. So we will go to cd where log. This is the same place where Nginx also contains log. We need to look at the logs from audit file. So cd audit ls cd audit.log. Sorry, it's file cat audit.log. Okay, so this will give me all the errors, but it also gives me for all the files and all the services. So what we will do, as usual, we will go with cat audit.log, pipe it to grep nginx. Now nginx is here. First is something called system call. This is not an error, this is normal auditing. And before that, there is a type AVC. Whenever you find the type AVC, that is the error log. You see, denied open, denied read, So to read a file, it is denied. To get attributes, it is denied. So for the particular application, this is denied for read-write access into the particular folder. So that's the error that we could get from here. Let me clear the screen. So the reason why the read-write error, like read-open error, is happening is, even though let us go to the location first. cd var www, and one step back, you could see that for the www, other users have read and then -x, so read and execute access. Even though the read and execute access is present for other users, which means Nginx has this access, security enhanced policy does not allow a HTTPD service to reach to locations other than the well-known location. So this location is not allowed by HTTPD, the security enhanced Linux, SE Linux. So SE Linux policy or configuration is not allowing it. There are two ways how we can do this. One, we modify the label itself for this particular location. So let us try that one from CManager. CManage, or the easiest way is that changing the owner, like currently the owner of this www is root. We need to change the owner of this root. That is one option. We can change the owner of this root to Nginx user, and then we can try. So first one is change context. CHCON, change the context recursively. So basically I'm saying recursively to all subfolders, change the context, and type is HTTPD, and I remember it is system content T. So for this one, give to var www/. Okay, so now I changed the context for this one. Let us try to change the permissions. Earlier we said CManage permissive, CManage permissive, delete this time to HTTPD_T. Earlier we turned it open, now we are removing it. So after we remove the HTTPD Linux HTTPD permissive access, we need to check from the browser whether it is working or not. Now even after we remove, it is working. Now there is one more problem. This modification that we need will be removed when the file systems are relabeled. So to make these changes permanent, you need to do this from CManage itself. CManage, then context. So it's not like change context. Now you are doing at CManage context add, and the type is HTTPD_system_content_T for variable www, anything inside this folder. So now anything inside this folder, you need to give, let's try this one. This gives for this particular folder, it now has the access, and now for anything inside this folder, you need to give the same, but along with this you need to give, let's give anything. Basically what I am giving here is a regular expression command, and I am saying anything after this location, anything after this www should also have access there. Enter, and that is also created. After everything else is done, what you need to do is you need to restore context recursively for var www. We did three things: change the context, and then we said CManage context, and then we restored the context. Once these three things are done, then we will be able to reach it. So this is one way of reaching only through the port. But now what about the, I don't want to change the port or open the port and go through all these things every single time. What if I need to do it through the domain name? For that you need to have domain. So you need to buy domain from some provider like GoDaddy or Hostinger or name.com, wherever you want, and then you need to direct the records from the particular domain which you have purchased to your IP address, like wherever your Linux is your Linux IP address wherever you have hosted your website or web application. That we will see in the next video.